All right, welcome everyone. So my name is Jordan Luton. I'm the online counselor at Leeward Community College. And we have a Transfer Tuesday lined up for you guys that are on the call today. So just a few housekeeping things. We'll each have our panelists introduce themselves. And then just to let everyone on the call know, the session today is being recorded. So if you need to jump out early or anything like that, don't worry, we'll record the session and we'll post it online afterwards. We're also using the webinar feature today. So if you're used to other Zoom calls where you're able to use your mic and your video and all of those things, you're not going to be able to use those features today. So just locate the chat, the Q&A, and feel free to post any questions that you have as you hear the presenters talk today, and we'll be sure to get to your question afterwards. And then, of course, if you have any technical difficulties, like you can't hear us, try and post in the chat, and we'll try and troubleshoot you as we go along. There will also be an evaluation at the end of the day today, so be sure to look out for that and give us your thoughts and feedback about how the session went. We will use that to make improvements on future sessions. So appreciate everyone for joining us. Amy, I'm going to pass it over to you and let you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get our panelists introduced and get going on today's session.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Jordan. So aloha, my name is Amy McKee. I am a KAE EA/transfer advisor, and I serve as students at Leeward Community College, helping them transfer to Manoa. And to introduce our panel today, we have Jill Nakatsu from the College of Engineering, as well as Gerald Lau from the Information and Computer Sciences Department. And I just dropped the link to the evaluation in the chat. If you folks could please remember to fill that out afterwards. And then, thank you so much for coming to the session to learn more about the programs that are offered at UH Mānoa. Just some fun facts. UH Mānoa was founded in 1907 and is considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We offer over 100 undergraduate majors for students to choose from, as well as graduate and professional degrees in law, medicine, business, social work, education, and engineering. We are the flagship campus in the University of Hawaii system, and are a highly ranked Research 1 institution, NCAA Division I school, and we strive to be a native Hawaiian place of learning. So if you folks are thinking about transferring to UH Mānoa within the next 1 to 2 years, we'd love for you to consider joining the KAE program. The KAE program is a partnership between UH Mānoa and the community colleges, and we have transfer specialists at each of the community colleges and help students transfer smoothly and efficiently. The services we provide is proactive academic advising, we waive the $70 application fee, and we give students the ability to register early when they transfer to Manoa. So it's great deals for students. To be eligible to join the program, you need to have at least 24 transferable credits completed or in progress, a 2.0 GPA, and at least 1 more semester remaining at the community college. So we're currently signing up students for the spring 21 semester who intend to transfer for fall 21 or later. And if you're interested in joining the program, please let me know in the chat and I'll go ahead and send you more information. All right, and then without further ado, we'll turn it over to our first speaker for today, Jill Nakatsu from College of Engineering.
Okay, so let me put up my slides here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Sound great, thank you.
Okay, cool. So, great. Okay, so welcome to the Transfer Tuesday Fair. I'm Jill Nakatsu. I'm the Director of Academic Affairs for the College of Engineering. So I'm the main academic advisor for all the incoming students, and I'll talk to you throughout your time here in the College of Engineering with us. A little bit of background about engineering. Engineering is the application of math and science to produce ideas and processes and products and other things that can benefit society. So if you're interested in using your math and science technical type of skills to help people, then engineering is a good major to look into. At the College of Engineering, we have a lot of different programs now in mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering, civil engineering, construction engineering, and this engineering science degree that's new as well. The main three, the big three, I guess, mechanical, electrical, and civil, also have bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs, whereas the other ones, we just have the undergrad degree, the bachelor level degree. So if you would like to continue on past your bachelor's, you can in the big three. At the College of Engineering, we have a lot of renowned faculty, internationally and nationally renowned. The faculty teach the majority of our courses as well, and you do have the opportunity to work with a lot of them on undergraduate research. So unlike maybe some of the larger schools on the mainland, who mostly have graduate students working on research, there's a lot of undergrad research going on in our college. So as a student with us working on your bachelor's, you'd be able to get in on these opportunities as well. Because we are a Research One institution and our faculty do a lot of renowned research, we do have a lot of state-of-the-art computer and I guess laboratories which they conduct their research in. And you guys get to be a part of that through some of your classes, but mostly if you get involved in these different design projects that are built into some of the coursework along the way. So research expertise, our faculty and our graduate students are all doing research in these types of areas. So in biomedical engineering, we have electrical, mechanical, and even civil engineering faculty working in that area, which is something a lot of people don't think about, but that's how it works. All of these different areas like structural and geotechnical, the energy area, communication systems, a lot of them end up being a little bit multidisciplinary. So you could get into different kinds of engineering programs and wind up in all of these different types of engineering. Like it isn't named biomedical, but you can do it by having your ME degree type of thing. And these are the areas that our faculty focus in. All right, so career opportunities in Hawaii and beyond Hawaii as well. There's a lot of different types of engineering that you can get into. So besides mechanical, electrical, civil, and computer, there are environmental engineering and biomedical engineering, geotechnical, which is like study of the land and foundations, structural, transportation, so like Board of Water, Department of Transportation, nuclear opportunities with Pearl Harbor, all different kinds of things that you can get into as work here in Hawaii with your engineering degree. We have a fall and spring career fair every semester here at the College of Engineering, where a bunch of different companies will come down from local companies and mainland companies to hire interns and first-time hires, like the graduating seniors and stuff for their jobs. It's a bunch of different companies that are like federal government, state level government, utilities like HECO, and then private industry type of corporations too that come and hire our students. This past semester, we held it virtually for the first time online. So this is a screenshot of what you would see on your screen joining into that virtual career fair. In the spring, we may have it the same way in the past, and hopefully again in the future, we'll have it in person. And it's usually like this huge event with like hundreds of different employers coming down to talk to you guys. The average entry-level salaries for the different types of engineering that we offer are listed up here. So I'll just leave it up for a second so you can take a look at it and kind of have it sink in. And this is just average, right? And it kind of varies depending on where you're at. So depending on the type of industry that you go into with your engineering degree and the location, whether in Hawaii or on the West Coast or the East Coast or in the middle of the country, it can vary pretty significantly as well. Again, just average. Okay, so if all of that sounds kind of cool and you're interested in doing engineering with us, you can go ahead and go through two different pathways to get to engineering here in Manoa. One pathway that we recommend is through the UH community colleges where you're at, doing the ASNS, the Associates of Science in Natural Sciences, in pre-engineering at LCC, KCC, all the CCs actually in Hawaii. And if you graduate with the ASNS in pre-engineering, you can get the auto admission to UH Mānoa into whichever engineering major that you want to do. So it's automatic, like you don't have to meet whatever requirements. You just have to graduate with your ASNS in pre-engineering. So of course you have to meet the requirements to graduate with that degree, but it's a pretty straightforward pathway into our program. The curriculum in the ASNS is basically all of our curriculum at the freshman and sophomore level. And you would take it over there, finish that all up, and then transfer over to us. And the smoothest way to transfer over to us is through the KAE dual enrollment program that Amy mentioned at the beginning. So definitely, like, I highly encourage students to join KAE if you qualify for it, and talk to Amy as soon as possible about it, or your campus representative. Outside of that, you can go to an outside college, or even if you're going to UH Community College but not doing the ASNS, the standard way into our program then is to have finished the equivalent of the following courses: the English 100, Calc 1 and 2, the first calculus-based physics, and the first general chemistry with lab, and the second one. And then we're looking for an overall GPA of 3.0 or higher. So if you decide not to do the ASNS, or if you decide to come over before graduating with the ASNS, these requirements are the ones that we're looking at in order to accept you directly into a declared engineering major with us. If you don't meet those requirements and you still transfer to Manoa early, we would accept you into our pre-engineering program first, and you would finish up those requirements before declaring and moving on. So the engineering curriculum in itself, we have them all listed on our website. So the College of Engineering's website to the check sheets link is listed here. And I think Amy can get you a copy of this afterwards. You can download the check sheets. It's a layout of the 4-year plans with all of our engineering courses requirements listed out there. We have a very rigid and prerequisite driven curriculum. So it's really important to take the courses at the right times and pass them with the appropriate grades in order to keep making progress on your degree. This becomes particularly important for those of you who need to take classes that only satisfy requirements for your degree because you're using like VA benefits or something like that. And so you do want to plan it out to make sure that you're not loading up on gen ed courses only, because after that, you're going to start doing your math and realize you have nothing else to take because the math is the prereq to everything. So critical path starts with Calc 1, Math 241. Taking that is like basically the timing is set to 4 years from there. There are some chances to catch up in the summer school and everything, but it gets more difficult as you get deeper into our program. So I encourage everybody to get going on their math and chemistries right away and just keep making progress into the next levels thereafter. The sample of our freshman curriculum is listed up here. The sophomore level courses will depend on which major you're intending to do, because they're going to be more specific to like the electrical engineering 200 level classes versus like the mechanical or civil engineering 200 level classes. Then beyond that, when you join us here at Manoa, your 300 and 400 level classes, you're going to get the opportunity to get a little bit more discipline specific to focus on like biomedical or sustainability, renewable energy, aerospace, structural, all within your particular type of engineering. So for example, the electrical engineering degree has a concentration in biomedical. The civil engineering degree has a concentration in sustainability and things like that. So you would talk to me more about that when you're getting closer to transferring. So other undergraduate opportunities that you can get involved in outside of just the coursework at Manoa is to join some of our different projects. We have these vertically integrated program projects that are very teamwork and project-based focused and research focused. So they are multidisciplinary projects going on that are advised by the ME and EE and a bunch of different faculty across our campus that let students work on from like the freshman level all the way to the senior level, different engineering design projects. We also have a lot of students who get involved in like the business competitions here at Manoa. And a lot of times their teams are the ones that win them. They usually get a business person to join them and then they kind of make a business plan and all of that. And then we all have capstone design projects built into our curriculum for all of our different programs. And there are the student club projects that you can join as well. So these student clubs are the student branch versions of the professional engineering societies like the Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineers, the American Society of Civil Engineers, or American Society of Mechanical Engineers. We have some multidisciplinary ones like SWE, the Society of Women Engineers, and the American Indian Science and Engineering Society as well. A good portion of them help out with either like the senior design projects or do their own club-based projects, the ones that they go to their national conferences to compete in like the concrete canoe, the structural design competition, and like the Formula SAE where they build a Formula One mini car from scratch. Additional support and opportunities, besides all those opportunities to get involved in research, to actually pay for school, we have a lot of different scholarships that the college offers and different research funding opportunities. Internships are other great ways to help pay for school and get experience. And then there's different study abroad programs as well. Some examples of the engineering scholarships that we offer are all listed here. You can definitely apply for these when you're ready to transfer over to Manoa. They're only given out once a year though, so the application usually opens up around now or like November, December, and then we'll close up in January, February, March, depending on which ones they are through. We also have a Native Hawaiian Science and Engineering Mentorship Program. So of course, this program focuses on Native Hawaiian, but it also supports anybody who's a minority in engineering. So that includes Pacific Islander and Latino, Hispanic, even women in engineering as well. And I know I wrote down here freshman bridge, but I meant to change that to transfer bridge because they have a transfer bridge program too. And they can provide different academic like tutoring and then financial support to have different opportunities throughout the school year and in the summertime. And a little bit more about my office and what we can talk to you about too. So Student Academic Services in the College of Engineering is my office. Just to let you know, we got about 250 to 290 undergrad degrees that we award each year and graduate out. A lot of students look into doing minors if they have the time for it. And these are kind of the common ones that a lot of students pursue. We have mix and study abroad, so the international exchange programs where students actually earn engineering credits in other countries. So if you're interested in that, let me know. The career fair, again, each semester, we have one and it's kind of run through our office. Tutoring, there is tutoring through the Engineering Honor Societies, as well as other resources like NHSCMP, that Native Hawaiian Science Engineering Mentorship Program. And then of course, advising is run through our office and you'll get advising either through myself or other faculty in the college. That's basically it. So thank you. You can visit our incoming student website for more information about the check sheets and how to make an advising appointment. And then you can always feel free to email us as well.
Thank you so much, Jill. That was such a great presentation. I'm really covering, all of the bases and aspects of engineering at Manoa. So we have a couple of questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
Let's start with that. First question is, are projects only open to classified majors?
No, so we even have students who are not engineering students who are involved in some of our projects. It just depends on the nature of the project and the capacity that the faculty have. So you don't have to take the project for credit if you're just joining it for the experience and to get a little bit more hands-on or just for fun kind of thing. They're more than open to talking to you about letting you join in.
Okay. Do you have any tips for like how to approach a faculty member about asking to join on a project?
So the best way to reach out to them is usually through email, especially now with COVID going on. So generally, in the busy times of the semester, faculty maybe won't get back to you right away. It might take a few days to get back to you, but sending them a follow-up email if you don't hear back from them is good. Otherwise, sometimes on the project page, like they'll have a web page with more information about who to contact. There might be a student contact as well, because so for a lot of the different projects, the faculty will kind of hand out responsibilities to students, and the students have been around on the project for a while, maybe kind of in charge and can kind of get you up to speed on what's going on.
And then another follow-up question about projects. Can students from the community colleges get involved in the VIP projects and other programs on that slide?
Yeah, to take it for credit though, again, would be a little bit complicated unless you were in KAE, right? And I guess if not, if you were just joining for the experience and everything, it's a little bit, I guess it depends. In a regular semester when things are in person, then it's just a matter of whether or not you can come down here to like work in the lab or, like work on stuff here. While we're doing everything online, I think it's a little bit more complicated because the faculty are trying to figure out what they can have their own students do here for credit, right? And so they might have a little bit of trouble like finding enough work or other things, interesting things for you to do at the moment, but it doesn't hurt to reach out to them, especially if it's more like a software-based type of project too, then they probably could get you involved. So it really depends on the nature of the project. So it doesn't hurt to just ask. Just email them and let them know you're interested in engineering or you're at the community colleges and you're looking to get more experience with the project. And if they have anything that you can work on their projects because you read about them.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, thanks. That is good advice. Yeah. Our next question is, are there government employers from the mainland? What employers come from the mainland? Any military?
So the employers from the mainland, I think, are more of the DoD contractors. Places like Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Boeing. There's not too much. Well, federal government wise, it's usually Pearl Harbor that shows up here, but they're associated with the entire federal government, right? So there is the ability to talk to them about, or apply through USA jobs and stuff to other places across the nation. A lot of our students who end up working on the mainland will work at one of those DoD contractors or start maybe locally at one of the other companies and then move to a branch that's on the mainland or international too. We have a lot of students who move out to like Japan and Korea and stuff too.
And kind of following up on that, do most students get a job right after they graduate with engineering?
Yeah, typically a lot of students will either have something lined up before they graduate or usually find something soon thereafter. Even now with the job market being pretty, crazy because of COVID-19, our students are still finding work for sure. A lot of the people who were doing internships ended up rolling into full-time, and there are a good amount of companies, because a lot of engineering, I guess, work is essential, that they are still being hired at places like, like HECO and Pearl Harbor and stuff.
Oh, nice. That's really good to hear. Yeah. Our next question is, what is the most popular engineering major?
Our biggest enrollment is mechanical engineering right now. A while back, so I'd say, I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago or something, it might have been civil engineering. I think the reason for that is civil engineering has always been really popular, and it's still a pretty strong program too in itself, because there's a lot of different opportunities in Hawaii in particular. All the construction industry, all the utilities, Board of Water, Department of Transportation are all civil engineering. Mechanical engineering, I think, has seen a rise because of robotics programs in high schools and things like that. So students are really into that kind of stuff and assume like that's where they should go next. But all of our programs are generally kind of even. Like, even though mechanical's a little bit more, there may be like 330 mechanical engineering students, but there's still like 300 civil engineers and still 300 mix of electrical and computer engineers too. So it's not like by a huge amount that ME is the most popular.
Yeah, I know. I definitely feel like I've seen a rise in the ME students that I've been seeing. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, going back to projects, do we get paid by doing projects, or is it just learning purposes or just getting college credit?
Learning and college credit. In some occasions, the faculty may have money on like their grant and stuff to hire like student assistants, like engineering student assistants kind of thing. I guess that's usually a little bit maybe more reserved for like their graduate students though. So like if you're interested in going on to grad school, then getting involved in those projects and getting to know those faculty is really important, because you could then turn over into a graduate assistantship where your tuition is waived and they're paying you a salary to then do research with them beyond that. So forming those relationships early on really help if you decide to go on to grad school or decide to go away and then come back kind of thing.
Thank you. All right, our next question goes back to scholarships and possibly the Native Hawaiian mentoring program you mentioned. Do LGBTQ plus students count towards a minority for scholarships previously mentioned?
I think our scholarships are not minority based. A lot of those scholarships are based on either merit, financial need, and to an extent they might have a little bit of requirements, like GPA requirements or something like that. So the scholarship's not really, but the Native Hawaiian Science Engineering Mentorship Program, generally all minorities in engineering. So I would say it's always just best to reach out to Kelly Ching, who is the director of NHSCMP, to find out if you qualify for the program. And in most cases, they kind of take everybody that they can. So they just try to squeeze as much people as they can into it. So it's definitely good to just reach out to her for sure.
Thank you. All right, this might be a tough question, but what is the easiest engineering major?
Right,
Sorry,
so I'm an
I like
engineer.
puns.
I'm an engineer by background, right? So like my degrees are in electrical engineering. And like if I had to say like off the record, we always make fun of civil as being the easiest, but it's not really true. You know, they're all difficult. They all require all the same background math and physics and stuff. It's going to be challenging no matter what. And what you should choose is based on your interests, because if you're interested in it, you're more inclined to spend time on what's going to be the hard parts, right? And so looking back on it, right, even though I'm electrical engineering and most people think that's the hardest one, I would have a hard time with civil because I just don't like that stuff. And I really found more of the physics related things related to that area more challenging because I didn't like it. It's easier to understand and see what's going on with mechanics versus electromagnetics. But for me, it was harder. So it really depends on your interests. They all are hard. So there's no easy way out if you're engineering. So just choose the one that you like the most classes that are related in it. And, you know, always go to like the career fairs and things like that to learn more about what you can do with each type of engineering, because they can all open up the gateway to similar companies or kind of same sort of work, everything.
Thank you. So going back to careers, how is the job market for different engineering majors?
Well, in Hawaii, or is there like a specific thing?
It doesn't say in Hawaii or US, but if you could talk about Hawaii, maybe, because I know a lot of our students want to stay home.
Yeah. So a good amount of jobs in Hawaii are civil based, like I mentioned, like the Board of Water, Department of Transportation, environmental, coastal, ocean related stuff, and structural engineering, construction management kind of things. There's a lot of different companies in Hawaii running all of that. And that's just the nature of civil. It's called civil because they take care of the whole city. So whenever there's a city, there's a ton of civil engineering jobs. Electrical and mechanical and computer engineering have a lot of opportunities in Hawaii too. So they will work on more of like renewable energy or just regular power systems and energy like at HECO, and a lot of the federal government work with Pearl Harbor, Oceanit that designs kind of interesting new technology and stuff, hires a lot of mechanical, civil, actually civil too, electrical and computer engineers, and pretty much any communication systems like Spectrum and whatnot are going to hire like electrical and computer as well. The HVAC industry, fire protection industry and stuff. So HVAC is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. That's all mechanical engineering as well. So there is a good amount of jobs for all of our graduates here in Hawaii. The really fancy, cool design work mostly happens on the mainland, I think, though. Oceanit does a good amount of design, research, development, but a lot of local stuff is going to be more maintaining systems that are already in place. Yeah, which is still interesting work in itself. But if you're really wanting to be the research design, state of the art, pushing things, it's going to be probably through academia here in some of the companies, but mostly on the mainland.
All right, thank you. And sorry, do you have any particular companies you would recommend for mechanical engineers to look out for, and also for electrical engineering majors?
I guess it depends what you want to do, right? Like the engineering majors are very broad. The bachelor's of science degree is meant to be broad so that you can kind of go wherever with it, right? So depending on what you're most interested in, like you really want to work in medical technology and stuff, right? Then you want to look for certain companies. So I would suggest to these students who are asking here, maybe see if they can attend our next career fair or just visit our website too. I'll find it later and I'll put it in the chat. We have a website for our career day that happened in September, and it lists all the companies there. So they can go back and look at those companies and just kind of research what they're about. But, you know, it's so broad an area that like, if you really wanted to work in power systems, then I could tell you some companies, but like that won't matter to you if you actually wanted to work in communications, you know what I mean, with your double E degree. So it's kind of hard to say, but there are definitely a lot of companies here and on the mainland.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, if you wouldn't mind dropping the link to that career day in the chat later. Yeah, just so they can follow up on it. Thank you. And then another question is, what type of mechanical engineering tracks are there?
Mechanical engineering doesn't have tracks set up into their curriculum, but what they do have is like technical electives in their upper division. So they are required to take at least 3 400 level technical electives in an area of their choice, which is kind of like you could build your own track in that way. So if you took them all within like the aerospace related courses, then you kind of have an aerospace, little bit of aerospace background. We are working on moving the aerospace concentration into the ME degree. So that's something to look forward to in the future. Maybe depending on when you're transferring here, it might be ready. But other than that, all our students who are interested in like the biomedical side of mechanical or the aerospace side of mechanical or the material sciences side of mechanical will take just those technical electives in those particular areas to get that kind of focus, I guess, that a track could provide.
Thank you. Oh, and then here's a really good question in the chat. How hard is it to earn an engineer license? And also, could you talk about like, what is that process to get an engineer license?
So it depends on what industry you're going into and the types of work you want to do, whether or not you need an engineering license. But basically the start to the engineering license is to get an engineering bachelor's degree. That's going to open up the ability to take the FE, which is the Fundamentals of Engineering exam. Passing that will then put you into the next step where you're starting to work towards taking the professional engineering or PE licensing exam. Part of that process is to work under a licensed engineer for a number of years. You can cut that time a little bit short by doing a master's in the area. So it is a long process and it is difficult. The Fundamentals of Engineering exam is not easy. It's basically like taking the SATs, I guess, of all your particular engineering areas that you studied in undergrad. So you really have to get a really good foundation and background in that. So if you feel like you take a class and you don't remember it, like the next semester, that's not going to work for the FE. You're going to have to go back and like really hardcore study for all those different subjects.
Mm-hmm.
But it is worthwhile to get if you need it, right? So a lot of design work, people who are stamping off on designs and stuff are going to need that. So especially civil engineers, mechanical and electrical to an extent, if they're going to work in that kind of construction and consulting areas, they should get a license as well, or in power systems and stuff. But if they're going to work for like a big company like Raytheon or something, they won't necessarily need a license. And it's state by state too.
Thank you. All right. Ooh, and then we have 2 questions that are going to nicely segue us into our next segment with Gerald. So our first question, or I'm going to go with the second question first. Are there many differences in the required curriculum between computer science and computer engineering? And also, when is computer science moving into College of Engineering?
Oh, you heard about it, that. So I guess we can tag team this, huh, Gerald?
Yeah.
Okay, so computer engineering has like the core of EE built into it, electrical engineering. So you're going to take all of the electromagnetics, circuit theory, physical electronics background to understand how that relates then to digital circuits and logic and stuff that's more computer engineering focused. So because of that, you do have to take all of the calculus, all of the calc-based physics and things like that. Whereas I think computer science kind of has a little bit more options on that, and they don't have to go as hardcore into like understanding the circuits and transistors and all of that level. So because of that, computer engineers are going to have a little bit more opportunity on like the hardware side of things, right? Like working with hardware and firmware and whatnot, as well as software, because they also take programming classes. So computer engineering opens up the doors for a lot of different areas in, security, in hardware, in software, and has to have like kind of the same undergrad rigor as like the EE program, because that's the core of it. Yeah. And then I guess Gerald can kind of talk about what's required for computer science.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going on to the next question. Sorry. Yeah, for computer science, we really go into the software side of things. And so we're really developing apps, we're developing software systems, more along that line. So like I'm running this Zoom meeting off of my iPad. So Jill's group will actually design the iPad, the circuitry and everything. My group will be designing Zoom that will run on the iPad. Now, That's the easiest distinction to go with. So we're like the Microsoft version of the campus. It's the best way to put it. And then Jill's group is more the hardware side, but there is a lot of crossover though. Yeah. Any circuit that is made in electrical engineering, I can actually mimic it in software. And same for software, you can mimic it in hardware. So what's the advantage or disadvantage? If you design the circuit well, it's running as fast as it can, and it's running at the speed of light, okay? Because if you design the circuits well and everything, it's gonna shoot right out there and go. The advantage of software is that it's soft, it's pliable. So if you have to change something along the way, you don't have to remake another circuit board, but rather you just have to change the software and put it in. Any large project is gonna have a blend of both. I used to work on satellite projects, and we swapped out what they call a transmitter, a radio frequency transmitter in the early 80s and put in a laser transmitter into it. For us, it was about a month of redesigning the software to talk to it and command it to make it work. It would have taken a lot longer if it was a hardware issue to redesign the board to do the same thing. And so that's where you need really good planners that know both, actually.
Yeah. The integration is super important.
Yeah.
Thank you. And do you folks want to tackle the question about a potential merger, or maybe we'll save that for later?
I can probably talk about it later because it probably affects more my department than anybody else. And when I come to the end, just remind me to talk about that, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for everybody for all of your questions. Jill, thank you so much for answering them. You did a great job, and I'm so sorry for like the rapid fireness, but lots of great questions for Jill.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
And then